videos about leaving religion. The purpose of the videos is to get you to think, turn your brains on and think. Use logic, use reason, and realize that religion is fake. For this video, I'm going to speak about belief. And it seems that even though talking to those of us who have left religion, at the same time I have to school the handful of believers that are actually following the page that really don't understand how realists / to them atheists think. We're realists. We just believe in real things. If something's not there, I'm not going to believe it's there because you say it's there, but I can't see it, taste it, touch it, feel it, or hear it. So we're realists, but that's called atheists because theism is believing in God, but atheism is I don't believe in one because there's not sufficient evidence to prove one exists of any of the gods. So even before I get into that, I did have some comments where people have been hitting me up for those who ask me how they want to donate to the page, you know, to get some stuff done. So to put that out there, I was going to go to Patreon, but when they asked for access to my Google account so they could check my videos, that was very suspicious to me because I'm like, if I give you access to my account, you can go in and literally block me out of my own account and change what you want to change, do what you want to do. That sounded fishy to me, so I went and looked at the reviews on Patreon, and people saying this is a scam, don't mess with them, they shouldn't be in business, it should be illegal. It was all bad comments about Patreon, so I'm not going to do Patreon. If you want to donate anything to me, I will leave my Cash App for you to add anything to it, or my PayPal account to add something to it, something I know that's secure, where people are not going in because Patreon and them, they're still doing like how Facebook is doing, and in some aspects how YouTube is doing, going in and censoring what you say. Let me say what I want to say. I want to say what I want to say this way. So don't go change it because you totally disagree with it. Forget that. I'm not doing that. So if you want to donate to the page, I'll leave that in the comments. It'll be on the screen, be in the comments. For those that want to do it, nobody has to do it, but for those who are asking how to do it, it'll be there. So now let me get back to what I'm saying. So believers, see, believers think, you know, because we were believers, right? And believers think, oh, if you don't believe in God, and God is so vague. When you come out of religion and you say God, it's like, which one? To the believer, the one true God. That title applied to a lot of gods. Zeus was the one true God. Odin was the one true God. And Odin's son, Thor, which Odin, Wednesday is attributed to Odin, Woden's day, Wednesday, and Thor's day, Thursday, is attributed to Thor, and his mother Freya, Friday. I might have that wrong, but Wednesday, Thursday, Friday is the Trinity for the Norse people that we go by. Thor is the son of God. Odin created the earth in that tradition. So when you say the one true God, we'd be like, which God? The one true God. Which God? There are thousands of gods. So when you use a vague term as God, that's no different than walking into a coliseum full of people and saying, hey, I'm looking for human. The one true human. The one true living human. Which one? Can we get a name? Because that's a title and not a name. So we want to get into names and not just a title. God is just a title. All right, y'all, I've been paused about 30 minutes because my son just came over. He moved out, getting his new place, whatever, so I'm trying to get my train of thought back for the video, all right? But again, we talk about God. So you can't holler about human in a place full of people and holler about God in a place that's loaded with a bunch of man-made gods. And of course, right then the believers are like, oh my God is not man-made, he's the one true God. Your God just as man-made as the other gods. And the difference in the atheist and you is, atheists have disbelieved the thousands of gods. The difference in a believer is you're one God away. One God away from being an atheist. Really. You are one God away from being an atheist. That's how serious it is. Okay? And once you find out that your God isn't real, then you'll be a realist / atheist, like so many others of us who used to be believers. And that's the trick part. We used to be believers. So believers think, well, if you ain't serving God, then you worshiping the devil. When in reality, if I don't believe in your God, neither do I believe in your devil. So how would I worship your... That's like saying, I don't believe in Santa Claus, so I believe in... I have partnered with Krampus. I don't believe in Saint Nick, but I'm down with Krampus. If I don't believe in Santa Claus, I don't believe in Krampus. Either or. It's not a matter of, well, you're not down with Luke Skywalker, so you got to be down with Darth Vader. You're not down with Harry Potter, so you got to be down with Voldemort. It doesn't work like that. I don't believe in none of them, so I'm not subject to any of them. I'm not subject to your books, your doctrines, or anything. I'm not subject to your heaven, to your hell. I'm not subject to believing in sin, because sin is just a made-up word for things we naturally do to help religions continue to do what they do and manipulate people. Sin was originally the moon god. That's what sin was. And when the moon god was worshipped at the mountain of Ai, it was called Sinai. That's where you get your word Sinai, where Moses was. Sin and Ai equals Sinai. Come on, man. It's just a word play. It's just, all the Bible is a hosh-posh of stolen traditions from everywhere they went and put them all together. So let's talk about belief. Let's get back to belief. I'm ranting here. Let's get back to belief. See, there's real belief, and then there's fake belief. So in real life, yeah, see, Christians want to be like, well, you believe in something. There's real belief, and there's fake belief. Real belief is this. Black mother going in the store with her kids, and she tell them, look, when we go in here, don't touch. If you touch anything, I'm going to beat your ass. Believe that. See, that's a belief that's based in reality. That although it has not happened, it could possibly happen. Not like the rapture, you know, or somebody dying for 3 days and coming back. It's a belief that's based in reality if you touch something. Look, this is another belief. I'm telling you like this, put your hands on me if you want. I'm gonna tell you like this, and we're gonna be fighting. I'm gonna beat your ass. Believe that. Yet again, another belief that is based in reality, that if you do this and touch them again, you will yet be in a fight, and you will have to fight, and there is a chance that you could get your ass beat. See, it's based in reality. You see what I'm saying? This is not somebody dead for 4 days, Lazarus, and then come back from the grave. This is not, you know, somebody part in the sky. And it's a belief that's based in reality. You understand what I'm saying? You know, the dude that messed around on his girl, and she be like, I'm gonna tell you this. This is the last time you're gonna do this, because if you do this again, I'm out of here. Believe that. Another belief based in reality on things that could actually happen if you do this. See, so yeah, we have beliefs and stuff. Like when we go and we see those swings on the porch, you know, especially when you're from the Carolinas or something, or maybe down south, and they had those porch swings and the posts are drilled up high, and you like, is this going to support my weight? Now you don't believe it when you first sit on it. So you're kind of questionable. You lacking faith, you're lacking belief. And then you sit on it slowly and it holds your weight, and then you rock in it, and okay, then you realize, and somebody come tell you, oh yeah, it's good, we sit on it all the time. And now you rocking on the swing, talking, you ain't thinking nothing about it. So now your belief is now gone. Now you know the swing will support your weight. And that's the thing about belief. Belief is always trumped by knowing. Once you know, belief is null and void. You see what I'm saying? Now if a chick thinks that her man is cheating on her, she can think it all she wants. She believes he's cheating, okay? But then if she finds something in his phone or, something else suspicious, whatever, she gets proof. Now once she gets proof, now she knows. So first I was suspicious and I believed something. I had a suspicion. A suspicion is in the same realm of belief. But once she has actual proof, I saw the text message, or I saw the picture, or she did a post on Facebook, and I saw it, it goes, and now belief is out the window, and now we go into knowing. Once we go into knowing, belief is gone. Belief is gone. So there's a difference in believing in real things and believing in fairy tale things. So y'all, so Christians or believers like to try to use, well, I know you believe in something, I believe, or whatever. I believe Martin Luther King's views were, you could believe that, but that's something based in reality. Things based in reality, not things based in things that defy physics. I believe Jesus multiplied the fish to feed the 5,000, and it was just the men. They don't count the women and the children. I believe that, but you've never seen that ever happen. It's never been documented anywhere ever forever, and it's not physically possible. It's not real. It's not real. A lot of the things in the Bible, in the serpent said to the, look, serpents can't talk. Serpents have no ability to talk. They don't have a jaw that can move to talk. They don't have a tongue that is used to transfer the air the way we use, and they don't have a vocal cord. And I've said this before. If you hit a dog, what did people say? A hit dog hollers the loudest. If you hit a dog will whelp and yelp, and you'll hear it. You use them to a cat, you hit other animals, they make noises. You chop a snake with an axe or anything, you never hear a snake, They don't have the ability to make noises because they don't have a voice box. The whole thing about the serpent was just a story about, as I've said before, serpents were believed to be eternal because they shed their skins. And when you look in ancient Kemet or Egypt, and you look at a lot of the pharaoh's garb, they had a cobra on their head garb. And they respected the cobra because most snakes could just lay flat, but a cobra could not only lay flat, but could raise up and still strike forward. So a cobra cannot, see, most snakes could do this, a cobra could do this. And you see they had that cobra right on their head. There was a lot of reasons why they use these things. When y'all see the symbol for the hospitals or whatever, it's the serpents wrapped around the pole. There's a reason for the serpent being there. The story is not a real story in Genesis about a serpent talking to a woman. The story is beyond the story. And that's what Christians need to understand, is that the story is not what you're reading. The story is beyond the story. There's like you're looking at this, but what's really going on is here. You don't see what's going on behind the scenes. It's a hidden story within the story. Don't believe the literal term of it. Go to the figurative term of it. That's how it works. So I wish we could get to that point. So when you're talking about you want me to believe something, you want me to believe something because you don't know. That's always the case. And I've said this before. You only believe because you don't know. And I joke with a lot of people. I'm a jokester. No doubt, I'm a jokester. And people be like, I lost my keys. And I'll be like, look at the last place where you put them. Boom. But if they knew that, then they had their keys. But guess where your keys are? The last place you put them. When you find your keys, you don't be like, somebody, but where you find your keys? It's always the last place, right? And which place did you find? The last place. The last place I looked is when I found them is where I found them. When we say I've looked everywhere, that's really not true, because if you looked everywhere, you'd have found them. You understand this? We're talking about belief here. Belief is it's belief because there is no facts. And today, I'm gonna say two things. One, I had a believer in my comments talk about natural things about belief. Natural things. Which that makes sense when it's natural. I understand that. If I work out and do whatever and I lose weight, I understand that. That makes sense. Those are natural things. If I save money, then I'll have money. Natural things, that makes sense. But don't try to compare natural things with what you want to call supernatural, which supernatural really means made up things that cannot be proven, and they can't be proven because they are made up and they're not real. It's not real. Understand that. It's supernatural. You got to put the super on it. I used to teach that mess too. You got to put the super on the natural. No, you don't. It don't exist. It's just natural. And some things you just can't explain because you don't know about them. You only know so much, but you don't understand these things in order to find out what it is. When I had all of my medical procedures on my aorta, when I had an aortic dissection, and when I talk to nurses and people in that field, they be like, oh, you had an aortic dissection? They understand that. And I'm like, yeah, and what happened? They don't see it as a miracle. They see it as another day at work. I literally had one guy, when I was taking my son to do his EMT training at a school, and the guy said, I told him I had an aortic dissection, and I had work on my ascending aorta and on my descending aorta, and that was before I had work on my aortic arch and my iliac. That was before that. And when I told him the things I had and I had survived, he was like, wow, I don't mean to sound offensive, but for us, on a day like that, that's a good day. It's an exciting day when something's happening like that. But to him, it wasn't like it's a miracle. And when I told him, I had a situation where I was in the I can't say the ICU. I was in the hospital when they brought me in an ambulance, and I was talking with my youngest son Caleb and my then friend pastor Joe Cooper, and I did all this talking to them about and God and how I feel and whatever. And I said all this stuff probably about 2 minutes, and Joe said, "B, we don't know what you're saying." And I'm like, "What?" And he said, "Yeah, we don't know what you're saying." So I thought in my mind as a Christian then, I'm just going to pray to God because God understands me. And that's what I thought then. The man who has the knowledge about this told me, well, what happens is, in your mind, you understand what you're saying, But what's coming out your mouth is not actually what's in your head. You're slurring and saying things, but to you, you hear yourself as saying them clear, but you're not, because of the situation that's going on with you. So when they say they didn't understand you, it's because you was just slurring and talking and it didn't make sense to them. So now I thought this was some miracle, some supernatural stuff. It was just something that this man, we ain't talking about religion, explained this to me, that's what happened. I didn't know what I was saying. I thought I was saying a certain thing, but I wasn't. But the medical term for what was going on, he explained it to me. And the more I learned about the medical things that happened versus the supernatural things I thought was happening, it made more sense. And I found out all these things weren't miracles. It was just another day at work for the people at the hospital. They didn't go home, girl, this guy, and he flatlined for 10 minutes, and then they brought him back in. They ain't talking about that. They talking about something else, because what happened with me is something that happens with a lot of people. Some of us die, some of us live. I was one of the few that lived, but it's not a miracle. It's just a chance. And you can't say it's some miracle that God did, because now I'm speaking totally against the whole God thing. So that's not what it was. That is not what it was. When I talked to my cousin's wife about it, and she was like, you know, she talked to the surgeon that did the work and everything. They knew everything that was going on at the time. Like when I flatlined, my uncle had said it. Yeah, he's probably going to flatline when he go to ICU. They'll fix it, whatever. And sure enough, I flatlined for 10 minutes. They shocked me 4 times, brought me back, took me back in, whatever. And he understood this, but to them it was just another day at work. It was no miracle. No newspapers showed up. No reporter showed up. They wanted a story on this. It was just another thing that happens in the hospital, because this is how the body works. It's not a miracle. So people always, well, in my experience, this happened and that happened. That's in your experience. But you can't share that experience with everybody, so it's not factual information. You know, like I always said, I said way back with the X-Men movie with Apocalypse. And when Apocalypse used Professor Xavier to speak to the world, he gave the same message to the entire world. He told the entire world the exact same message of what he was going to do, so there was no questions about what was going to happen. You ain't need no prophets, you ain't need no pastors, no apostles, no spiritual people to tell you what was going on, because we all heard the same message, and we're believers. God spoke to me. Well, then why God didn't speak to y'all? Why is there never a group of people and God said the same thing to all of y'all? It's always one person telling the rest of y'all what God said, and then that's how we're going to go off based off what I said. But like I said, if you're hearing it second person, it's automatically hearsay. If you haven't heard it from the source, it's hearsay. If God can't say it to me, it's hearsay. So you telling me what he said is hearsay. Him telling me straight up, that's revelation. We ain't had no revelation because he ain't said nothing to me. And you coming along telling me, well, God told me to tell you. God could have skipped the middleman and told me, and then I would have told you, hey, God told this to me, so hey, we on the same page. But that's not the case. The case is always God telling you, and then you telling me, which in reality, your God is actually you. There is no God. Your God is actually you, and how the way you feel. So now how the way you feel causes you to tell me something that you think is from God, but it's actually from you, and you want me to feel it to be on the same page with you. That's just not how it works. Can't believe that mess. So in conclusion, belief should be based in reality and not in things that never happened, not in things that cannot be shown in history, things that don't line up with history or physics, or that don't line up with the way things work. We know people don't die by, you can't say that this person was shot and killed and then 3 days later they came back to life. These are not things that happen. So let's stay in reality. We know these things don't happen. People flying away in a cloud and all of that, and then Jesus want to show himself to Paul, who wrote Paul / Apollos, right? Apollos of Tyana, Apollianos of Tyana. Paul, Apollo, same name. Apollo was a god, right? Was a Roman or Greek god. You can look it up. And then, but God, so Jesus shows himself to Paul, then show yourself to me. Why you got to show yourself to him and then have him tell me? If all the power was given to you, as you said in the book, then show yourself to me. Show yourself to all the believers. You won't even need a Bible. Anytime you got to be a believer, you should already know you have been brainwashed. You are a believer and not a knower. A believer is the two of hearts for the spades people, and knowing is the big joker. You believe because there's so much you don't know. You can't prove it, you don't know it, and now, there's so much evidence. And what's the evidence? The Bible? If your evidence is the Bible, you are back to zero. And if your evidence is people that wrote about Jesus after the fact, you're back at zero. Nobody wrote about him at the time. Anybody can make up we can make up something about Barack Obama now, about how he flew around the world super fast to bring Michelle Obama back to life because she had been shot by a sniper's rifle. We can say that shit, and then 200 years later, somebody believe that. Come on, man. Let's talk about real things, the stuff that Jesus did. And people are like, Jesus was real. And I say this, you mean Jesus the magician? Jesus the magician? The one who was born, conceived in a virgin, born of a virgin, right? Okay, and how do you follow a star over somebody's house? There are stars in the sky. Please, anybody on a clear night, go outside, find a star, and tell me if any star is over the house of anybody you see. What we call stars. Is there a star over anybody's house? Can you be like, oh, I see that star right there. That star is, and you could Google Earth it and say that star is over this house right here. Think about that. That makes no sense. They followed the star. And the star led them to, what kind of star is that led them to an exact location like they had Google Maps or something back then? What kind of star was this? Think about it. You got to think about it, but that's the whole thing about it is when you ask Christian stuff, they give you stupid explanations for things that cannot be proven or it makes no sense. God is sovereign, he can do what he wants. Well, if he can do what he wants, then tell us all the same message. Hey God, can you tell us all the same message? So there's no confusion? Can you do that? No, he can't. Why? Because he doesn't exist. Belief. When you're talking about believing in real things, I believe I can buy this house. If your credit is everything and you got the down payment, you can get that house. I believe I can get this car. Same thing, if your credit is here and you got the money, whatever, you can get that. But don't start believing, I believe I can fly. You can believe you can fly all you want. Unless you're getting on Delta, American Airlines or something. If you ain't doing that, you ain't flying. You fly like Superman, it's not gonna happen. So let's believers, look. Don't put belief in the Bible, because the Bible is not historical. When they say biblical or historical facts, that's an oxymoron. That's a little giant. That's an oxymoron. They don't mix. Historical and Bible don't go together because it's not real. We could sit here and go all through the Bible and how the Israelites did not exist at any time as slaves in Kemet/Egypt. This is why I can't do fucking videos, because niggas are always coming in and shit. This is what I'm talking about right here. Those things cannot be proven. And thus, since it can't be proven, one has to believe. When you're stuck in believing and not knowing, you're behind the 8 ball, and you don't have the authority to say but so much because you believe and you don't know. When you start to know and not believe, then you can actually say something. So yet again, I'm going to end this video here. You can't believe and know. Either you believe without knowing, or you know and belief is out the window. That's always how it goes. So like I said, I'm going to leave my information in the bio for those who want to donate. And once again, I'm out of here. It's William Jones.